We've always been told that empathy is a superpower for good. We're taught that the bad guys are cold, heartless, and unable to feel what we feel. But what happens when that superpower falls into the wrong hands? Meet the Dark Empath. They aren't cold or distant. They are warm, charming, and deeply understanding. In fact, they might be the person who gets you more than anyone else in your life. And that is exactly what makes them the most dangerous person you'll ever meet. By the end of this video, you'll learn why a high IQ combined with high empathy can create the ultimate psychological predator, and how to tell if you're currently being dismantled by one. Let's return to Mark. After weeks of feeling drained at Loomis and Vance, he meets someone new. Liam. Liam is everything Mark's boss isn't. When Mark talks about his stress, Liam doesn't just listen, he mirrors Mark's emotions perfectly. He says, "I know exactly how that feels, Mark. It's like they're suffocating your potential, right?" Mark feels an instant bond. For the first time, he feels seen. What Mark doesn't realize is that Liam is performing a cold scan. While a normal empath feels your pain and wants to help, a dark empath feels your pain and uses it as a map. Liam is identifying Mark's insecurities, his Zeigarnik gaps, and his need for validation. He isn't building a bridge, he's installing a back door into Mark's mind. For decades, psychology focused on the Dark Triad: Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and Psychopathy. The common belief was that these people lacked empathy, but recent studies have introduced a fourth, more complex category: the Dark Empath. Unlike a typical sociopath who doesn't care about your feelings, the Dark Empath scores high on effective empathy. They can actually feel your distress. But here's the twist. Instead of being repulsed by your pain, they are fueled by the power they have over it. They use cognitive empathy to predict your reactions and effective empathy to make their manipulation feel authentic. It's the ultimate disguise. Back to Mark and Liam. Over the next few weeks, something strange happens. Liam starts using Mark's own secrets against him, but in the most subtle way possible. When Mark mentions a mistake at work, Liam says, "Don't worry, Mark. I'll keep your secret. You know you can only trust me, right? Everyone else is so judgmental." This is isolation via empathy. Liam isn't being a good friend. He is using his understanding of Mark's fear of judgment to cut him off from others. Because he feels Mark's anxiety, he knows exactly which buttons to press to make Mark feel dependent. In psychology, this is known as weaponized validation. They make you feel seen so that you're afraid to be seen by anyone else. One of the biggest red flags of a dark empath is their sense of humor. Have you ever had a friend who makes a joke that cuts you to the bone, but then says, "Oh, I was just kidding, you're too sensitive"? Liam does this to Mark constantly. He uses his high empathy to find Mark's deepest insecurity, perhaps his fear of failure, veils it in a joke, and then watches Mark's reaction with clinical precision. While a narcissist might ignore your reaction, a dark empath watches it intensely. They get a high from the power of knowing they can alter your emotional state at will. This is the Dark Tetrad in action, the thrill of the hunt, disguised as a conversation. So, how does Mark and how do you escape a dark empath? The answer lies in emotional boundaries. Mark realizes that just because someone understands him doesn't mean they care for him. Understanding is a cognitive skill. Caring is a moral choice. Mark starts practicing gray rocking, giving Liam short, emotionless answers. He stops feeding the perceptual sponge. When you stop giving a dark empath emotional data, they lose their power. They are like hackers. If you don't give them the password to your feelings, they can't get into the system. Mark puts back on his professional mask, but this time it's not for the office. It's a shield for his soul. Mark is safe, for now. He learned that empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. But as he sits in his quiet Brooklyn apartment, he looks at the book on his shelf, The Psychology of Solitude. He realizes that his need for Liam's validation came from a deeper place, a fear of being alone with his own thoughts. Why are we so terrified of silence? Why does the modern world treat solitude like a disease when it might actually be the cure? In our next video, we are going to explore the solitude paradox and why the most successful people on Earth are the ones who learn to be their own best company.